Imagine Warlocks consider themselves superior to all other Guardians. Imagine they live a life detached from people, connections, rules, and the ground. Whilst hunters seek adventure, titans protect. The orders of Warlock demand reality bends to their very will. In this video I answer how cloaks were their original class item, how they suspend parts of the EDZ in the air every year, how Ikora used to see the future, and why the people of the last city think Warlocks are pure and utter assholes, and refuse to shake their hand in case they're disintegrated. Using the lore and history of the Warlock class item, here's the unbreakable rules that Warlocks will refuse to live by, but always look to solve. Let's go. Evidence, data, and metrics are the measuring tape of most Warlock orders, and they become the root of their core philosophical belief that the universe is, in its truest form, math. Once this language is understood, then you can do whatever you want. If you wanted to know why Warlocks in lore seem OP and can tap into space magics to more of a degree than other classes, then this is your answer. Light, guns, and artifacts are nowhere as powerful as a vigorous mind, as it is their mind, rather than the light, that is their greatest weapon. The mind as a weapon, using the ammunition of math to nudge reality in one way or another and shape matter to their very will, opening up abilities to shape void light into bombs, read people's minds, tell the future, and give them the power to levitate or fly, depending on how you want to describe the Warlocks floofing about. Being able to manipulate molecular structures also forms the lore behind Starfire Protocol. The robes are shaped on a molecular level to display a special computer program that enhances solar light to enable easier fusion reactions. And Warlocks are able to run that program in their minds subconsciously just by looking at the robes and intuitively reading that pattern. It can be inferred that most Warlock robes of any quality probably have a similar attention to detail in their construction. Okay, if you're into these kinds of lore videos for Destiny and other games, can I ask for you to sub to this channel? I do want to keep making more of these deep dives, and this would help me so much just to keep going. Now, back to why there's no Destiny for Guardians. This thinking lays out a certain pattern of the universe, where every action and thought of every person is determined by their circumstances, by the equation rather than by free will. Patterns are predictable with enough information and thought. People are not separate from the context they live in. They are cogs in a universal system of dominoes. Except for Warlocks, and by extension, other Guardians, who get to make their own destiny. Warlocks see reality as a work in progress that can be subtly manipulated and pushed. Their understanding of these patterns and this truth is what they consider their unique contribution to the Guardians, which manipulation of reality allows them to disrupt the battlefield. This core rationale imbues Warlocks to possess the unique ability to split their consciousness, allowing one part of their brain to rest while the other remains active. This capability enables them to function without sleep, dedicating themselves entirely to their studies and pursuits. The Eclipse Maw 6 says that applied ontology is the art of convincing things they just shouldn't exist. This is exemplified in the Warlock's lore tab, describing a Warlock who we kind of think is Ikora, but it's never really confirmed, conducting research in her private library in the tower, which we know exists, only to become acutely aware of a group of bandits preparing to ambush her. The bandits crash in through the window and she erases them from very existence, so instantaneously they supposedly don't have time to process what's happening, with nothing but a thought. No hand gestures, no significant effort, She simply willed the void to consume them, and it obeyed. This can maybe be tied to Warlock gloves that mention needing to be disarmed for social situations, which suggests the Warlock's ability to disintegrate is from a tool built into their gloves' armor. If you ever wondered where the myth of people being afraid to shake Warlock's hands came from in case they were disintegrated, this is where it comes from. Warlocks do fight for or against reality and existence itself, which must climb over the carcasses of an infinity of potential futures. Taken from Tooth and Claw, reality grew from the carcasses of an infinity of might-have-beens. This is the connection to a greater thinking of expansion. Even when everyone else cannot see the bigger picture and make the claim that Warlocks are weird or kind of insane. There's a story in lore of a Warlock named Trin who was reborn into a massive pile of dead parts, all of whom had died in the spiders' fighting pits on the Tangled Shore. Remember the Tangled Shore? Yeah. Resurrected to life, she was forced back into the pits and forcefully fed Elixni ether to keep her quiet. Until the Elixni who ran the pit realised that Spider would be furious if he found out they had been using a light bearer for their own needs without telling him, so they tried to kill Trin, only for that clash with the reality of near death to attune her to void light, purging her body of the ether and connecting her fully to the light. She killed her captors and then spent the next several months stalking the Tangled Shore, hunting all of her previous captors down. The ultimate perspective and big picture fixation do give Warlocks a cold and maybe emotionless facade that is seen by everyone else. This is partly to their own reputation, but also honouring that if the universe is super cold, hard math, then there's no need to become emotionally involved, right? Warlocks will never blindly worship the unknown, as many early Warlocks feared, but also a rejection of dismissiveness. Instead, it encourages confrontation with mystery, not as supplicants, but as sovereign thinkers. In the early days, Warlocks hid their faces under hoods, not unlike hunters, but not out of fear, honouring the idea. They didn't want to distract from the idea with the self. They were thinkers in the shadows, humble, anonymous, and utterly overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the metaphysical truths they sought to uncover. But that did not last that long. As Titans built walls and hunters wandered off making maps, Warlocks grew alone in their thinking. Misunderstood, they turned inward and upward. This is how the hoods eventually evolved into stylized robes of armor, symbols not of modesty, but mystique. They see themselves as the only class with true cognitive freedom, able to grasp truths others fear. Warlocks now face immense pressure to seem like they understand what nobody can, leading many to hide ignorance under layers of convoluted jargon. To the average citizen, Warlocks are either angelic protectors or insufferable know-it-alls, and Warlocks feel the same about the city. Some believe only they can keep the peace, because no one else is smart enough to understand what needs doing. Their grandest philosophical schism, whether paracausality, light, darkness, Ikora, obeys rules, or transcends them entirely, and until that's settled, they will never stop debating. There is really no greater example of a Warlock exemplifying this than Osiris, who refused to accept the Vex's reality or the Traveler's powers as fixed truths. Instead, he entered the Infinite Forest, a digital simulation of endless possible futures, to learn, predict, and challenge the course of fate itself. Osiris stands as the ultimate example of a Warlock who demands that even reality explain itself, rather than bowing before it even if it costs you your rank, ghost, or connection to power. What we've gone through until now lays out how Warlock bonds cannot just be fancy accessories. They actually represent different ways Warlocks understand and use their own powers. When it comes to how Warlocks think about rules, behind the paracausal light power, there are three main ways they look at it, and each is reflected in the kind of bond they wear. First, some Warlocks believe that the light follows rules, but these rules are just more advanced or hidden compared to normal physics. Imagine regular science, but at a super high level, you don't fully get it yet. These Warlocks, like those with the inertia engine bond, think their gestures and movements, like raising their hands or focusing their minds, actually send specific commands to the light, and it responds predictably. It's like using really advanced tech. A famous example is Osiris, who uses his knowledge of time and space to predict and control outcomes, showing how this view thinks of paracausality as a kind of super science, I suppose. Next, there are Warlocks who believe that the light follows a completely different set of rules that don't match anything from the normal world. Warlocks with bonds like the bond of polarity see the light as alien and mysterious, not just an advanced version of physics. For them, it's less about sending signals to the light and more about aligning with its strange, otherworldly logic. Think of it like discovering an entirely new kind of magic that works on its own set of rules. Weird as they are. The Bray family's experiments with light and tech show this approach, mixing science and strange cosmic forces. Finally, some Warlocks believe that the light has no rules at all. It's pure power that responds only to their will. Those wearing the bond of unknowing don't think they need gestures, words, or symbols to make the light work. Instead, they just focus their mind and shape the light directly, like bending it with raw force. Ikora Ray's later style shows this approach. She relies on instinct and deep connection rather than strict methods. This is the true freedom approach, where the light is totally wild and untamed. Each of these views changes how a Warlock fights. The rules-based Warlocks train to use their powers precisely. The alien logic Warlock experiments with unusual ways of using light, and the limitless will Warlocks trust their instincts to unleash raw power. Your bond is a clue to which of these paths your Warlock follows. Warlocks have always stood apart from other Guardian classes, not just in how they wield the light, but in how they see the world. Where hunters prize raw skill, agility, and practicality, Warlocks dive deep into the hidden threads of reality, chasing subtle meanings and profound truths. This natural difference has created a playful but sometimes tense rivalry between the two. Hunters tease Warlocks for their floofing about, preferring gliding over the elegant but measured steps of Warlocks. Meanwhile, Warlocks respond by layering their cloaks and armor with wild, advanced technology that feels like a personal statement of their mastery over unseen forces. This rivalry is more than just friendly competition. It reflects a deeper truth about embracing what makes you unique. Warlocks don't have to move like hunters, lead like titans, or follow the crowd. Their strength lies in subtlety and thoughtfulness, the power to bend reality in quiet, often overlooked ways. Just like gravity shapes the cosmos, despite being the weakest force, a Warlock's influence can be small, but profound. It's not about loud displays of power, but about mastery over the unseen, the barely perceptible rhythm of the universe. Warlock's origins also shape how they approach their talents. Exo-Warlocks see parallels between their own mechanical nature and the physics of the light, treating their abilities almost like advanced science to be studied and mastered. Awoken Warlocks, on the other hand, treat their visions as whispers from the edge of light and dark, guiding them towards a deeper cosmic truth. No matter the origin, all warlocks must start from the beginning, learning to protect their minds as much as their bodies and guiding newer guardians as they grow in strength. A key part of embracing your talent as this class is recognizing that there's both natural ability and cultivated skill at play. Some warlocks seem born to hear the music of the light, intuitively tapping into its powers. Others learn through dedication and study. What unites all warlocks is their willingness to explore and experiment with the light's subtle mysteries, shaping their own path rather than following well-worn steps. Finally, warlocks show us that talent isn't just about raw power or flashy moves. Some possess remarkable mental abilities, like the rare warlocks who can split their consciousness into two distinct minds, each with its own personality and strategy. This deep mental discipline is a powerful reminder that true talent is multifaceted and personal. In embracing your talent as a warlock, you don't just accept what makes you different, you celebrate it. You build on your unique strengths, whether that's quiet mastery, deep knowledge, or wild creativity. You take pride in your subtlety, your thoughtful approach, and your ability to see the unseen. Above all, you understand that your power comes not from copying others, but from being the best version of yourself. The Praxic Order is easily the most famous and influential warlock order. Established when the city was founded, their original mission was to safeguard dangerous artifacts tied to the darkness, keeping them away from guardians, hence their role as guardians of knowledge and power. Their home after the Red War lies in the Praxic halls deep within the tower. However, the Praxic Order's role has evolved significantly in recent years, especially with the rise of darkness powers and the threats posed by the pyramid ships and the Witness. They have become akin to something like a secret police force for the city. They are guided by the Pujari position, which, it turns out, was incepted into the mind of Guardian Pujari by the Witness to keep Guardians away from and afraid of darkness and the potential of its abilities. And that worked incredibly well. Despite this, Ikora Rey emphasizes that the Praxic Order's goal is redemption, not punishment. Every Lightbearer is supposed to be given a chance to cooperate, but even with these ideals, the Praxics wield powerful tools, including light-suppressing technology and specialized prisons to maintain their form of justice. Their overlap with the enigmatic hidden, particularly through figures like Anor Mahal, adds to their mystique and authority. Much less is known about the old Gnostic order, but what is clear is their pursuit of an absolute truth that transcends mere symbols and surface meanings. Their members are sworn to search for this ultimate reality, suggesting a deeper philosophical and perhaps mystical approach to the light. Though they remain somewhat mysterious, their dedication to uncovering profound truths marks them as a unique faction within the Warlock society. The Tanatnauts represent one of the most fascinating orders, formed by warlocks who have experienced visions or journeys during near-death experiences, especially those witnessed in the Crucible. They specialize in exploring death itself. Joining the Tanatnauts requires official authorization, though many, including the infamous Ikora Rey, have unofficially dabbled in their studies. They investigate what lies beyond life and death, seeking secrets in the realm of the dead. These studies are not just academic, they also influence weapon design and combat strategies, as seen with certain exotic weapons connected to their research. The Tanatnauts blend metaphysical inquiry with practical application, pushing the boundaries of warlock knowledge. Not all warlock orders are focused on philosophy or metaphysics. Some reject such abstract thinking altogether, dedicating themselves purely to combat discipline. These orders value honing their light as a weapon and ally more akin to titans, focusing on battlefield prowess rather than arcane theories. Their motto can be summarized by a sharp rebuke to those caught up in endless philosophical debates. You did not receive the bonds so you could babble arcane words. Go forth and burn our enemy. These warlocks embody the raw power and discipline that makes them formidable warriors, focusing on the immediacy of battle and the destruction of foes. The early and once prominent warlock order, the Crypticons, notable for their interest in predicting and shaping the future. They were led by the Oniromatic Circle. I think I butchered that name, but okay. A group dedicated to dreaming and foresight, which gave them a mystical connection to visions of what is yet to come. Their close association with Osiris, the famous warlock once exile, and their involvement in dangerous expeditions such as sending the crew of Kentarch III into the Black Garden led to their downfall. After Osiris was exiled, the Vanguard disbanded and banned the Crypticons, seeing them as just too risky. Still, remnants of the Order do survive, clinging to their mission of navigating fate and destiny through the light.
Wow, this has just been such a pleasure. I'm such a lucky boy. I can't wait to go home